Okay, okay. You want to get the door? Okay, quiet please. Here we go. We got a very short lesson here, which doesn't really add much to what we've already done. Okay, it's still the same section, which is 10.2, right? So when we get done with this, we're going to take a quiz. Right, so we've already dealt with parabolas that open up and parabolas that open down, right? If a parabola opens up, then the vertex is actually the minimum value of the function, right? It's the lowest point on the graph. If a parabola opens down, then that vertex is the maximum value of the function. So in a problem, if it says, what is the minimum, what is the maximum, what are they really asking you to find? The vertex. And how do you find the vertex? Negative b over 2a. You know, the same old way that you found it before. We just weren't calling it the minimum or the maximum at that point, right? So how are we going to tell whether it has a minimum or a maximum? You're going to look at the a, right? If the a is positive, that means it opens up. That means it has a minimum. If the a is negative, that means it opens down. That means it has a maximum.
So can you only find either the minimum or the maximum? Can you not find both on the parabola?
Well, you wouldn't have both. One parabola could only have either a minimum or a maximum, right? So again, if they ask for minimum or maximum, in your mind you go, okay, they're just asking for the vertex. And I know how to get the vertex, presumably. Negative b over 2a. Okay. So here we go. Tell whether this function has a minimum or a maximum, and then we'll find it. So what do you say? It starts with negative 3. Does that mean it opens up or down? It opens down. You know, if it helps, you know, then say it opens down, which means it's going to have a shape like that. So what would you call that point? Maximum or minimum? If that is a max, that's the highest point on the graph. Okay, so now find it. Okay, negative b over 2a is negative 12 over 2 times negative 3, which is positive 12 over negative 6, which is negative 2. Okay, and then how do I find the y value? Plug it in, right? Again, with a calculator in your hand, Mike, right? With a calculator in your hand, it's just as easy to do this. Just plug it all in the calculator. Right? Negative 3 times negative 2 squared minus 12 times negative 2 plus 10. Right? So this is going to be negative 3 times positive 4 plus 24 plus 10, which is negative 12 plus 34, 22. So the vertex is negative 2, 22. What is the maximum value of the function? Actually, the value, that's the maximum value, right? If they just ask for the value, then just say 22. If they said, what is the maximum point? Negative 2, comma 22. Really, it's 22, and it occurs at x equals negative 2. You know, is the negative 2 a maximum itself of at x values? Not really, right? There's going to be values at negative 3 and negative 1. So the only value here, which is actually going to be a maximum, is that 22. Okay. So try to do the same thing with that one. Tell whether it's a maximum or a minimum, and then let's go through the negative b over 2a process. Okay, did it open up or down? Okay, because that's a positive 6, it opens up. Does that mean it has a maximum or a minimum? Okay, minimum. Okay, so now we've got to find it. Negative 18 over 2 times 6 equals negative 18 over 12, which is negative 1.5. Okay, and then I've got to plug that in. 6 times negative 1.5 squared plus 18 times negative 1.5 plus 13. And I would definitely recommend put it in the calculator. times let's see what I get. Negative 1/2, negative 0.5. Right? So the point is negative 1.5 and negative 0.5. So what is the minimum value itself? Actually, that's the minimum value. Where does it occur? At negative 1.5. Okay, so here's a real-world problem. The suspension cables between two towers of the Mackinac Bridge in Michigan form a parabola that can be modeled by the graph of that function, where x and y are measured in feet. What is the height of the cable above the water at its lowest point? So what are they asking for? The minimum, right? They're asking for the minimum, so we should go through this process. Negative 0.37 divided by 2 times 0. How many zeros is that? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, 7 equals. Definitely calculator time. 0.37 divided by 2 divided by 0.000097. I'm getting 1907.2. Okay, and now that's what we've got to plug into that equation, right? That's going to go here and here. So let's put it in. 0.000097 times 1907.2 squared minus 0.37 times 1907.2 plus 549. I'm getting 196.2. So the minimum value above looks like it is 196.2. Notice that the y-intercept is 549. That should be the height of the cable here. Does that look like it's 549? Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit above 500, so that looks pretty good, right? 196 feet above, so it's 200 feet above the water, basically, which is probably a safe distance. That's it. That is the homework.